I'm Linda Evans-Shepard, and today I have a very special guest, Rebekah Montgomery, who has recently returned from the Holy Land, where she was exploring the secrets of the mystery women of the Bible. Now, Rebekah, the first mystery woman that we're going to talk about is really not a grown-up, it's a little girl who changed a nation. Can you tell us who this little girl is?
I wish I had a name for her. The Bible doesn't give us a name, but she was a little slave girl. And the Bible only refers to her as a little maid. And she was a little maid in the house of Naaman, who was a commander in the army of Aram, which was an enemy of Israel. And maybe I should just step back a half a second and explain why Israel is always in trouble. And it's because Israel was a land between. It was between the north and the south and the east and the west, and every army that was going anywhere had to go through Israel. And so everybody wanted that little piece of land. And it's still the same today. Everybody wants that little piece of land. And God sometimes puts His people in that area where they're exposed to a lot of different people, so that His people can shine the light of God abroad. And that's what this little girl did. She was minding her own business somewhere in the Galilee when Naaman's army came down through there, and somebody snatched her from her home.
Kidnapped her,
took her home to Naaman's house as a slave. And Naaman's house had its own problems. He may have been the commander of the army of Aram and a very powerful, wealthy man, but he had a problem. He had leprosy. And leprosy was an incurable disease. And it covered a gambit of skin diseases and all kinds of problems, but there was a real leprosy in which parts of your body started to fall off. A very unpleasant thing.
Right.
But Naaman was desperate for some kind of healing. And she could have been one of those people that just sat back and thought, serves him right. But she spoke up.
Right. He took me for my mama.
That's exactly right. Here's a little girl that never thought she would see home again and possibly never did. But she spoke up and said, I wish Master Naaman could know the prophet Elijah in my hometown, in my country, because he is a prophet of God, and he might be able to heal him. He knows God. He knows the real God. Naaman worshipped a heathen god, but this little girl knew and believed in the one true God, the God of Israel. And so she spoke up to Naaman, and she spoke persuasively.
Now, wait a minute. This was a time when women didn't really have the right to speak up. So a child, a slave girl, goes to her master and tells him...
Exactly. It's really an amazing story that anyone would give credibility to a child. But she must have spoken very persuasively. She must have been very credible in what she had to say. And not only that, Naaman was extremely desperate, but on the word of this child and on what she had to say, he wrote letters to his king, and he actually wrote letters to the king of Israel, and he got his king to write letters as well. And eventually Naaman was healed, but the story...
To get permission to see the prophet?
To get permission to see the prophet. And actually, this little girl sparked an international incident.
Oh.
Because the king of Israel was actually mad at the prophet Elijah.
Oh.
And was very frightened that the king of Aram was asking for he was very frightened when he received these letters from the king of Aram saying, you know, it would be I would consider it a very personal favor. If your prophet would heal my commander, we might be able to work out a truce.
Oh. Well, then what happened?
Well, the rest of the story is in here. But I will tell you this. Naaman was healed. Naaman did come, and he did meet the prophet Elijah. And not only that, he found God. He found the God of Israel. And he was healed. And because of this little girl's testimony, there became a truce between the two nations. an amazing truce between two old enemies, and thousands of lives were saved. And a man named Naaman, a heathen, came to know God because of the testimony of a little nameless girl, a mystery woman of the Bible.
A hero, nonetheless, who was at the crossroads at a time such as this and spoke up when God tapped her to do so.